Hey y'all, welcome to Teach Yourself to Code. My name is Todd Mantell. I've been a web developer slash software engineer slash, I don't know, whatever we're calling it these days, for a little over a decade. Now, maybe you're someone who has always been interested in coding but felt overwhelmed by it. Maybe you're, a young student and you're interested. Maybe you're an adult and you're just looking for a career change. Or maybe you were looking for PewDiePie videos and for some completely inexplicable reason this video showed up in your feed. Whatever the case, my goal here is to give you some short, maybe 4 or 5 minute lessons. Maybe you're like me and you have a poor attention span and some of the 45-minute videos on YouTube overwhelm you. But just to give you some short videos, each lesson will build upon the previous one, and before you know it, you'll know some web development. My promise to you is that in every episode, you're going to write some code. It's not always going to be the most exciting code, but it'll be some code. So if that sounds like you and you're interested, let's do this. All right, the first thing we're going to need is some kind of program for us to edit the code in. This is not surprisingly called a code editor. And there have been a bunch over the years, Sublime, some other ones, but as of this recording, probably the most popular editor is Visual Studio Code. This is not to be confused with Visual Studio. Visual Studio is really meant for much bigger Java or C# programs. So we're going to go to Visual Studio Code, and if you are on a Mac, you'll see Download for Mac. And I'm going to download the stable build. It takes us immediately to a Getting Started page. We're going to download it. This is the user setup, so when we go to install it, it's going to try to install it in your local users file. That path is okay. We'll do a desktop icon so it's easy for you to find. And these can also be really helpful. We'll do Open with Code so that when you're in Windows Explorer, you can right-click on, a JavaScript file or an HTML file and open those in VSCode very quickly and easily. And we'll add that too. And we'll install. And once it's done, we'll get this completed screen in the setup wizard. We'll click Finish. And this is Visual Studio Code. So the first couple of things to notice, there are some quick start links here. If you want to quickly create a new file or open a folder or add a workspace folder, we're only going to be dealing with folders. Down the line, we may get into workspaces. And there's also, I don't have any recent folders in this new install, but this will show you any recent projects you've been working on. It's kind of nice because you'll often be switching between projects, and it's nice to just be able to kind of quickly bring up a project instead of having to kind of go in here, open a folder, find your project. As I just mentioned, Visual Studio Code works on folders. So to start a project, we're going to open folder and then create a folder for your project. I'll call this WebDev because this is the web development series. And I'll select that folder and it'll open us up inside our project. The problem here is that we don't have anything yet, so there's nothing to show. So click on this new file and we're just going to create a basic HTML page. And we're not going to do anything too interesting here. I promised you we'd write some code. I also promised you it wasn't going to be the most exciting code, but it's enough to get you started. This is what's often done in coding tutorials called a hello world example, where usually your program just prints hello world to the screen. Now that we've written it, and if you hit Control S, I believe it's Command S on a Mac, it'll save, or you could just go into here and hit save. And if it's unsaved, you'll notice
that there's this circle, a filled in circle here that shows that you have unsaved changes. And when you save it, then we've just got the X to close the tab. What we're going to do is we're going to right click on it and reveal in Explorer. If you're on a Mac, I believe it's reveal in Finder. Let's open that up, and you'll notice that the icon that shows should be whatever your default browser is, whether it's, mine is Chrome, but yours could be Edge, it could be Firefox. We'll open it, and the page will open with, this is my first code. So there you go. You've written your first code. It's not going to be enough to get you a job at Google, but it's a place to start.
Hey y'all, it's Todd again. So what did we do here? We first installed the code editor, then we wrote our first line of code. Then we launched it in a browser, whether your browser was Chrome or Firefox or Edge, Opera, Plumbus, Gringo, Geraldo, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Browser, the browser for bros, whatever browser you used. And then we ran it, and you saw your code come to life. In our next episode, we're going to introduce some interactivity. So if you're interested in that, click here. A lot of people will tell you, hey, hit the like button and smash the subscribe button. It's up there, and I think I'll have a link here. But what I want you to do is drop kick the like button and forearm shiver the subscribe button. Okay? I'll see you next time. Whatever the case, this is so bad. I'm so bad at this.